This video describes how to trace shapes in Illustrator. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to import a template. So if I go File, Place, I'm going to find a drawing of a pen that I've created previously. Okay. So if I want to reposition or scale this particular illustration, I can do that. I don't necessarily need to use the scale tool. I can select a corner point. You can see that that changes to an arrow. So if I want to scale that, I can scale it directly. If I want to constrain it, I'm going to hold Shift. I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller because I can. I'll move that into the centre of the page. Okay, so it's always a good practice to name layers, so we'll call this layer Template, and we want to see it but we don't want to edit it, so we're going to lock the layer. Okay. The next thing that we want to do is we want to create a new layer, and this one we are going to draw on, so we're going to call this Artwork. Okay, so next thing we want to do is we want to start drawing the lines that make up the outside line for the pen. So in this particular case we don't want fill, so we're going to select the fill tile to bring it to the foreground and select the white tile with the red diagonal for none. We're then going to select the stroke option, click on it, bring it to the foreground to say we want to edit it. This time we're going to select black, and we will go to the top bar and make that 3 point for the time being. Okay, so we are now going to go over to the pen tool. Even though we'll end up with curves, we're going to start off by drawing straight lines. So I'm going to draw lines to points where the line starts to move or change direction. So if I click at the bottom here, 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 here. When I return to the first point, you can see that a little circle appears next to the nib of the pen. That's telling me that it's going to be a closed shape rather than an open shape. So if I click that, that's going to be closed. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to convert these straight lines to curves. So if I look under the pen tool, I look for the Convert Anchor Point tool, select one of the points on the side, click and drag, then that becomes a curve. Same again on the other side, click and drag, that also becomes a curve. Okay, at the moment we are creating curves by creating straight lines first. Generally speaking, personally, I prefer to do that. Having said that, with experience it is possible to draw curves straight away. So I'll just show you quickly how to do that. If we go to the pen tool, we'll make this line the kind of reservoir of the nib. We'll make that into a curve straight away. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click once, and then the second point I'm going to click, hold down and drag. As I do that, the control points, or the handles, come out from the centre of the control point, describing a curve. Okay, there we go. Right, next thing I want to do is I want to draw the central reservoir. So I think here we'll use a rounded rectangle. I'm going to select a point near the centre of what I've marked out as the reservoir. If I want this shape to grow from the centre of the origin, then I need to press the Alt key. If I want this to be constrained to a square, then I need to select Shift. Okay. So the last shape that we need to draw here will be the start of the barrel of the pen. So I'm just going to stick with the rounded rectangle, click and drag, and we have our main elements. Okay. We've now finished with the template, so we can hide it so that we can see our graphics on its own. So I'm just going to go over to the layers and I'm going to hide the template layer by clicking on the eye symbol. So what remains to be done is to adjust the fill and the stroke on these particular elements. So I'm going to select the barrel of the pen. I'm going to select the stroke, set that to none. I'm going to bring the fill to the foreground to say that we want to edit it. I'm going to select that so it's a black fill. I'm going to do the same thing with the reservoir. So I'm going to click once to bring the stroke to the foreground, set that to none, set the fill and set that to black. I think it would be nice if we could make that outside rule a bit thicker. So we'll try that at about 8 points, see what that's like. I think we could probably make that a bit thicker. Try 12. Yeah. We'll probably make that central line a little bit thicker too. And that completes the graphic.